Hey everyone, I just wanted to do a little test of my new setup here in my flat. You may notice that the environment is a little bit different. It's now evening, it's dark outside, and I've set up a bunch of lights here, and I've changed the background a bit, rearranged a few plants and things to make it a bit neater. And I think this now works decently. I'll have to check the playback in a minute. But I think this now works pretty well as evening after dark version of my recordings. And there's something really interesting that's happened here because it's highlighted the idea to me of tiny impediments. So you've all heard, I hope, of tiny habits, the small things that you can do to instill habits very easily, like brushing a single tooth, for example, flossing a single tooth, laying out your gym clothes the night before, or even sleeping in your gym clothes. And that's great, that works really well. I'm doing that right now with journaling, so I can just write a single bullet point and that counts as journaling. Now, to me, that's one solution to the tiny impediment problem. So in this context, I hadn't quite clocked the fact that it had gotten dark in the evenings. Here in London, about 6 p.m. now it gets dark, and it's just not good enough to record video. And I hadn't really noticed this, and I think that's why I haven't been making many videos the last couple of weeks. Not because I don't want to, but it's because I've just had less time to do so because I can now only record in weekend daytimes, and I'm often doing other things at that point. It's a different kind of headspace compared with evening Michael. And now, because I've realized this, I made an hour's worth of changes to my environment. I now have access to evening Michael again, and can record videos. And this is my third now of the evening, which is great. So this idea of tiny impediments can be applied everywhere, I think. And it's a useful reminder to myself to check in occasionally and think, okay, not how can I make things, what can I add to my life to improve things, but what can I resolve? What small things are currently in the way that I can make go away such that I can then just allow things to work more easily, right? And this ties in a lot with what Jordan Peterson says about make things better where you are. So whenever I'm feeling a bit stuck in life and maybe things are overwhelming or I'm kind of whatever, a really good way out of that is to look around the direct environment that you're in, allow something to call to you that needs resolution in some way, and then fix it. So it could be there's a dirty dish out, there's something that needs tidying up or wiping or fixing, or take the bins out, or put the pile of papers in a file, or something like this, right? And you just do things one after the other and allowing a felt sense or kind of the idea of what's next to arise and then fixing it. And then by doing this a lot, you suddenly start to see that the entire tide is lifting and that things are just getting better where you are. And it didn't really take very much effort. You were just resolving the things that needed to be resolved. Now, this to me feels similar in that there was a very easy solution to my lack of light, which is just to sort out the lighting situation. And I just hadn't noticed. I hadn't been checking in that same way of like, well, what can I fix? Oh yeah, I could just put a light there and a light there and I'd be done. I hadn't done that work. But now I have. I've got access to a dozen hours a week of potential recording time and access to a different mindset that I don't have during the weekend because I'm doing other things. And I often feel like I should record a video now because I have the light. It's not the kind of mindset that I want to have when recording videos. I don't want this to feel like an obligation. I don't want to pressure myself, oh, I should because now is the good time to do so. I want to give myself as much space and opportunity to do so as I can, such that when I do it, it feels to me more wanted, more natural, more something that I can kind of say, oh, I feel like doing this, so I will. I'm not saying that deadlines are bad or I now have an hour to do a thing, so I'll do the thing. That's also very useful in different contexts. But for me at this early stage of my journey, both on YouTube and I'm making a course that has lots of video in it, having all that kind of I must spend the weekend doing video was actually getting in the way of making video because it was pressure and I had other things on. And various things like this were just not helping the attitude. Whereas fixing the small thing, now I can do this and it's great. So that's all. This was as much to see if this video setup works. Looking at the little camera, the little screen to my side, I think it does. I will slowly invest in better lighting, but for now, I think this will work for autumn, winter video mode. So thanks a lot and see you next time.